Now, to our first topic of the day. Nigeria's national electricity grid this past week collapsed for the 12th time, all of which occurred this year, 2024. The grid suffered another collapse yesterday, throwing the country into darkness. The breakdown came on the same day that the Minister of Power, Ajiboye, assured Nigerians that the country's power grid will achieve significant stability with the completion of Phase 1 of the Presidential Power Initiative, also known as the Siemens Project. Some members of the Senate also weighed in on the matter of frequent grid collapse, including Chairman, Senate Committee on Power, Senator Enyinaya Abaribe, who blamed substandard electrical materials for being partly responsible for the problem. I'm now being joined by Engineer Oluwagbenga Ajiboye, who is the Executive Director, Transmission Service Provider, one of the two major business units of the Transmission Company of Nigeria. Good afternoon and welcome to This Day Live, Engineer Ajiboye. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Doctor, and the listener.
Well, Engineer Ajiboye, Nigerians are concerned. 12th time. Trillions of naira have been spent, will have been spent on transmission alone. And yet, this year, 2024, we have had grid collapse 12 times. In fact, some people are saying before January, there may be another grid collapse. Now, what in your view is responsible for this? And why is TCN finding it so difficult to just give us regular, efficient service?
Okay. Thank you, sir. We need to clarify and determine what do we mean by system collapse. First and foremost, we need to understand this concept because as I've tried to explain, system collapse, when we say system collapse occur, it is the absence of potential in anywhere on the grid. What we term sometimes as system collapse are partial system disturbances because we still have sustained energy being transferred in aspect in some area of the grid. So most of the figures being claimed are not truly reflective of what happened in 2024. So we have sustained power in some sector in the grid. But the one that happened last was total. But you need to realize one thing, when we say total system collapse happened in the past, what we experience is the inability to bring the grid back for few weeks, days, hours. But the one that happened the last one, was able to be restored in less than 21 minutes. The meaning is this. The response time of TCN has been so quick because we identified the problem on time and be able to bring the machine back to the grid. So we need to look at it holistically when we are analyzing this. Because as I said in other fora, when some people don't have light in their house, they don't want to know whether it is a local fault, local problem, but it's TCN. Because TCN is the link between transmission, between generation and disco, we expect all this to happen. Even when the problem are not identified, which can be caused by any other participant in the sector, which is disco, about 11 of them, generation, we have about 27. So, but because we are the one in the middle that we this power, and we are the one that manage the grid, so the onus is on us to accept the responsibility at the person that is having the problem. But we need to understand in depth if you want to analyze and be able to find a complete solution to this problem by know what caused this problem. What caused the problem will help us to find the solution to the problem rather than shifting blame and say it's one person that caused the problem. This is a system that are interwoven, interlinked. Any deficiency in any aspect of this system can lead to system collapse. And we need to make it very clear that it's not only TCN that can cause it.
Okay, Engineer Ajiboye, you know the electricity supply system is a chain. People are saying that is TCN,
yes, sir,
which is government-owned, government-controlled, that it is the weak link in the chain. But some people will come and say, no, we are not the ones. It's Genco, it is Disco. They say, no, it's transmission. And that your infrastructure, TCN infrastructure, not reliable anymore, outdated. That's the word. Are you guilty as charged?
If you want me to respond, not guilty at all. We can be charged, but not guilty. We are going to give evidences of what we do and what we have achieved. In this 1 year, sir, we have added over 4,000, close to 5,000 megawatts transformation capacity. As I'm talking to you now, yesterday we were able to commission another 75 MV transformer at Aba, bringing the number of transformer commissioned this year to 54. And we are going to reach maybe 60 before the end of the year. This investment is not what you plan within 24 months. We plan ahead. And the one we are planning now will materialize maybe in the next 12 months, in the next 16 months, 18 months, in the next 24 months. So when they are talking about lack of investment or the weakest link, I disagree. If we say we have aging equipment, yes, I agree, because as we are doing phase out, we cannot remain replacing old equipment without talking of expansion. We are doing both of them concurrently, and they are yielding results. So when a system collapses, it is not only TCN that can cause it, as I've said in the past. What happened the last system collapse? Let us analyze it. If you know, recently, there has been problem of gas. Most of the fossil fuel fire generators are not at the optimal. We rely solely on the hydro, and that problem came from the hydro side. It is true that the line between Jeba and Kainji trip, in a trial reclosure, the line strip and the unit were pulled out on under frequency. Both of them are working together. That was when we were able to lose. Unfortunately, we lost more than 15% of the generation, which was 805 megawatts. That was too much for a generation of about 4,000 megawatts. So when you look at this, there is no way the system will stay. What is the contribution of the market to this? Let us analyze it. Do you realize that no grid in the world survives without spinning reserve? That is what we run in Nigeria. No spinning reserve. Why? The cost cannot be accommodated in the tariff. And if you cannot accommodate it in the tariff, how do you buy spinning reserve? Spinning reserve is meant for exigency, in case any unit trip, any line trip, so that those machines that are running on frequency governance will be able to respond quickly and compensate the energy lost in the system or the energy dump of the system to reduce generation. But this is not available in Nigeria. And how do you expect TCN to do magic? By making sure we are shouting on the phone, using internet to make call, to be able to either you ramp up or ramp down. It's never done anywhere. You must put the generator on free governance. Though that is the established code, but unfortunately, it's not being implemented.
Well, Engineer Ajiboye, you said TCN has the capacity to respond quickly and correct the situation. The 12th breakdown that we had, okay, it took such a long time.
Yes.
But the more topical example that we have is that of Bayelsa State that was thrown into darkness for more than 4 months. And we had the man in charge of electricity at the state level in that state coming onto the morning show. And he said that TCN didn't respond quickly enough. And you must have watched that interview on the morning show. Why will it take 4.5 months for a state that depends on power and electricity and economic growth not to have electricity? The thing is embarrassing.
Actually, it is not okay for any of us. But in a situation where we lost 16 to 17 towers at a go, in a very difficult terrain, in swamp, it was massive problem for us. But we never relied. We went there and looked at it. Instead of us to give this work to one contractor, we distributed it across 5 contractors so that the response time and the completion time will be hastened. But unfortunately, we have to invite the Bayelsa state government, because when our people go to site, our contractor, when they started this work, they were doing the assembling of this tower. When they go home and close for the day, before you come the following morning, all the work done would have been carted away. They dismantle it again. For about 5 or 6 times that was happening, until we told Bayelsa state government that, look, this is too much for us. We cannot be wasting money. And they now came in form of security to assist us. That was when we were able to stop and the contractor were able to continue this work. When we were about to finish, the issue of flooding came, and they assisted us in assisting in moving around. But do you realize, few days to completion of the major work, some people still went to the back in the water to vandalize about 5 spans, carted away the conductors. So what do you expect TCN to do? As I've told people, we had over 41,000 towers. Can we put security in all of them? It is not the responsibility of only TCN to secure national assets. It is the civil defense are saddled with this responsibility, but they are also limited by the manpower. We transferred over 17,000 kilometers in this country alone. So how do we put people to monitor this thing? But we have we have agreement with some community that our line passes through, and they normally watch for us and call us. But unfortunately, it can be overwhelming sometimes because we have in some terrain that are mountainous, we have in the river. So most of the time, we cannot monitor everything. We are appealing to people to change their attitude towards it. If you see anybody going towards this line or cutting away any of our equipment, quickly raise alarm and let us be able to apprehend those people and be able not to wait for the time that we will have about 17 towers being vandalized. It was like a mob action. Within few days, these things were done. Before we were able to respond, they collapsed and cascaded and put themselves down. So for us to mobilize, we have to make sure we secure the place and be able to go, sir.
Engineer Ajiboye, I've read some comments saying that the problem we are actually dealing with this grid collapse is corruption.
Yes, sir.
And lack of meritocracy in TCN. And TCN officials, in fact, the ones probably allegedly organizing the vandalism that we're talking about. So are there bad eggs in TCN operating for quick gains at the expense of Nigerians?
As I've told you, sir, from all the people arrested so far, nobody has pointed to TCN staff as collaborator or participated in any of this. Based on evidence we have one of the best dedicated staff. We have one of the most trained staff that will not engage in such because they know what they tend to lose. They know the law for infrastructure damage, which is years in jail, and they know what they are going to lose. So none of our staff have been identified to be part of this. And based on this evidence that I have, I still give kudos to our staff that they will never be part of it, and they have never been part of it. When you talk about corruption, corruption can be in every facet. But we guide against this because this work are being given in the corporate headquarters. The people in the region are the ones that have access directly to this tower. And I know, if they know they don't have any influence in giving or recycle the material, they will not go and do this, which we have identified. Most of this material are being imported. Let us tell you clearly, when this thing are scavenged, when they are vandalized, they are cut into pieces and taken to melting company that produces iron. And we are trying to collaborate with these people not to accept anything that look like our tower member or material from any of this infrastructure. And some are yielding results. They are turning people that brought them for sales into police nets now. And we have been seeing that evidence. In Kano, it happened. They are there. We can share you the video. They never mentioned TCN. The 30 people arrested in Bayelsa, in the scrap market, none of them told us that the TCN people were involved in this. Based on this, I still stay categorically. I can beat my chest for my staff that they don't participate and they are not interested because it will be more damage and destruction to them because of the little they will gain from that, sir.
Okay, Engineer Ajiboye, is there any plan in terms of either reforms of your operations or plans to make sure that Nigerians don't face the same embarrassment in 2025, now that we're celebrating Christmas? What is the plan for the next year?
The plan has been, we are collaborating with the Office of National Security Advisor and Civil Defense. In the area of security, we have left that to them. We only allow them when we notice strange movement in some axes, and they have been responding. Based on this, it will be strengthened, and I believe we are going to get to that point where the vandalism will be totally discouraged and we'll be able to work without fear of losing any tower or infrastructure in TCN. So based on this, I can give assurance, because we have received the security quarters, that they are going to cooperate with us to be able to make these people not to do it again. And it's going to be reduced to the minimum, even if it's going to be happen. If it's going to happen, they will be discouraged, because if you steal anything and you don't get where to sell it to, you will be tired of stealing it. And we are working in that in that direction presently with all the agency concerned, sir.
Engineer Ajiboye, is it correct to say you are passing the buck You are saying Office of National Security Advisor and Civil Defense. Now, this is the same Office of National Security Advisor that has to worry about insecurity in the Northwest, the Northeast, the Southeast, the crisis in the... And now you want to deploy army, perhaps, to be monitoring TCN towers. You think that's the best solution? Or dealing with the outdated infrastructure of TCN, or worrying about other solutions, off-grid, alternative power, and all of that?
We are not only deploying, it has been the responsibility. We are only calling them to please take more action. It has been their work, and they have been working. We have been in engagement since March, and so many things has been done because we cannot bring it to the table in public to be telling you what they have been doing. We are now looking at the technology to monitor this, and we are also collaborating. All these things need to be tested to make sure that it can be used and deployed properly. So we are not passing buck. When you keep on talking about dilapidated assets, we keep on saying, sir, you can run your car for years, as many years as you can maintain it. So it is not necessary that every car must be 2024 model. So it is not. Most of this infrastructure can last for 50 years or more than that. So provided you maintain them, and we try to do that in all our establishments. We have chat, we have route, and the time to do all these things, which we always do from time to time. We don't shy away from some area that cannot be done due to limitation, due to no redundancy in that area. But we always plan with the partners, especially the disco and the generation, to be able to do this area as at when due. So there will always be hedge equipment in the system. The requirement is to be able to get spare parts to maintain them. But don't shy away from the responsibility that this year alone, as I'm talking to you, with the number of transformers we have added, we have either changed or add new, which are now 54 in numbers at yesterday. And I'm telling you, the capacity, transformation capacity we have added is now about 4,900 megawatts. The meaning is this: we have prepared for the future, and we are ready to take along for any power demand in any area. The limitation that you call bottleneck because of transformer will not be there in 2025 because we are ready. What we are now craving for is more people to take more energy from all these load centers we are deploying this equipment, so that we can earn the benefit of this investment now and in the future.
Well, what some people are recommending is that the TCN should be decentralized, and the states should be able to, not just manage electricity, but to also have their own grids. What do you say to that? The Electricity Act of 2023 gives the states some powers now. Lagos State government only recently signed his own electricity bill into law. Now, should, in that kind of situation, we have electricity, at state level generation in Abia, in Ondo, and in some other states. So, shouldn't we just decentralize this national grid so that ordinary people can have electricity?
Yeah, well, nobody is disturbing any state from operating. But some people misread and misunderstood EA 2023. You can generate, you can distribute, you can even transmit if you have the resources and the finances to do that. But let me make it clear. If you want to sell your energy, if you have enough generation in your state and you want to sell to another state, the National Electricity Regulation Commission now come into effect. The reserve energy, the surplus energy when you want to put it, you put it on grid. That is the way it's going to work. It's not that you will dismember it in such a way that the TCN will not be there. But the TCN will be interstate agency that will be able to carry power from one place to the other outside your state. So when people are saying it, you can also generate. You can transmit within your locality, you can distribute it where the people are lacking energy and the disco cannot manage. That is how the act is. But it's not totally to divide TCN in either to sub-region or to make it a state-owned. In essence, if you have more capacity, then you now come to the degree on an agreement to be able to be either a participant in the market, to be able to sell. You can sell your power to other states. Nobody will stop that. If it's region, you can sell to other region. But the issue is this. Let us ask ourselves. We have been talking about dismembering. How many grid do we have in USA? Let people be intellectual, inquisitive, and be doing research and read. We have 2 major grids, and we have a lot of participants in this grid. Look at their population, the energy they are generating. And why is it that we have this type of grid? Because of frequency difference and voltage difference. So those are the reasons. In a situation where you have the same, you don't need that. So when we are talking about captive energy, you are talking about solar. And we are looking at it because in some area, some climate in the world, when you generate, even in your house, and you have excess capacity, you take it to the disco. You have this reverse power energy that will take power back to the disco from your house. And there is a way to measure it and pay you. Either you don't pay for the electricity or they pay you. So all these things is with time. Nigeria will graduate and mature to those levels where we will have energy dependency, provided we don't use only our energy for pleasure. Let me point it out to you. No grid ever in the world produce energy for people to run AC, to run theater, to watch television. It's for production. But we are lacking that now. Presently this morning, we reached our load generation was around 3,700. The peak was about 5,600, 4,700. Is that the energy we are looking for in Nigeria? With the number of industry we're supposed to have, we should be looking in excess of 25,000 now. So these are the things. How do you stimulate growth, industrial growth, so that more energy will be consumed instead of where we are now?
Okay, Engineer Ajiboye, are you saying that it's an offense for us as Nigerians to watch television because Nigeria is not producing enough megawatts? You said it should only be for production, not to watch television. If people don't watch television, I'll be out of commission.
No, sir. You see, you watch television at your leisure time. After hard day work, after this thing we are doing now, it's very good because it's educative. We cannot say people should not watch. People should not. But how many of these megawatts are going to production? Manufacturing is what we should stimulate growth that encourage cottage industry and big industry to be connected to the grid so that they can demand energy and make all the power sector participants accountable. If you don't deliver the energy, you pay, which we have been doing in the market now. Study the market and know what is happening in the market now. If you sign an agreement with anybody and you cannot deliver that energy, you pay for that energy you cannot deliver. So it is happening. When the populace start taking us into that level, we will know it is our responsibility to provide constant power supply. Anybody that is default, we have to pay for default. That is what I mean, sir.
Okay,
but we need more production than leisure.
Okay, as we begin to wrap up, Engineer Ajiboye, tell us about the Presidential Power Initiative, particularly the phase 1 of the Siemens project in collaboration with, the German government, which the minister was talking about, saying, well, phase 1 is already being processed, 750 megawatts, and that before the end of December 2024, there will be an additional 150 megawatts. Should we be dancing and singing because the minister said that will happen, to that extent by the end of December 2024?
Yes, sir. We have done that. It's only that we have not been saying it and making noise about it. I told you, out of these 54 transformer commission, 10 are the pilot phase of federal government power initiative, which is existing as Siemens project. We have done that. But we need to get something clear, sir. When we are talking about transmission reinforcement, it can have added capacity to the grid. When we talk about 150 megawatts, I have the transmission capacity, I have the line capacity, but the generation capacity is there, but where is the distribution consumption access? If that is not there, as I have said earlier, power sector must be in an equilibrium. Whatever is being generated must be transmitted and must be consumed. Any deviation from this bring oscillation into the system, and there will be system disturbance, instability, if we cannot maintain that. But we can do that provided people are ready to take energy. And as I said, it is now business. You cannot give energy when people are not paying. I cannot blame DISCO totally. Because if you give energy and they cannot pay, you cannot pay the generator to pay their gas supplier, which is what is happening now. The gas supplier are not being paid, and they are cutting gas supply. That is what caused the system collapse, because the thermal station, the gas station, were not firing. So this will continue. If we are not very careful, we will be running around this cycle until something is done for the empowerment of the people to pay for energy they are consuming, for the DISCO to be able to pay the charges to TCN, and the market will be able to reimburse and pay back what the generators contributed to the grid. So if this does not happen, the energy sufficiency we are looking for will be a mirage. I want to make it clear that we need to buckle up and look at the whole sector as a whole and be able to bring head to this problem.
Okay, on that note, I would like to thank you very much, Engineer Oluwagbenga Ajiboye, Executive Director, Transmission Service Provider, for giving us your own side of the story on this recurrent grid collapse that brings us so much anxiety and agony with regard to personal lifestyles and also economic growth and development. Thank you very much, Engineer Ajiboye.